Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Secrets for an Inspirational Life. How are you all today? I hope that the weather wherever you are in the world is at least a little bit sunny, a little bit beautiful in these times, and I'm hoping that we can get to better times very soon. Now, I have many guests on this show with heartfelt stories, and each one has its own merit and its own journey. And many are real, heartbreaking stories, I have to say. But luckily, they have a good ending. In today's episode, I really have the pleasure of welcoming a real warrior. But by that, I mean a warrior of truth and of the heart. I have the pleasure of welcoming Tony Stowell, who has set up a phenomenal campaign called Support Tony Stowell, hashtagged Support Tony Stowell. I have to get that right. And Tony has been tirelessly fighting to raise awareness for CCTV in care homes for the elderly and vulnerable after many sadly alleged reports of neglect in certain care homes. Now, we're not talking about all care homes here. We're talking, sadly, about the care homes that fall below what is acceptable. And it's those few that make it so terrible for the rest. He is tirelessly fighting for families to be allowed by law, if they wish, at their own expense, to put CCTV in a relative's room in a care home. And it is because of Tony's personal experience that made him decide to start this incredible mission, courageous mission, and to get a law enforced. Welcome, Tony. I'm so pleased to have you on the show.
Thank you. Welcome to you as well, Mimi. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Please, what can I say? This is one of the most heartfelt stories that I've heard in a very long time. And I have been a supporter of yours for quite a few years since you've had this whole campaign going. Now, I would really like you to share with the listeners your incredible story of courage and tell us this journey of yours and what it's all about in your own words.
Yeah, you said it there at the beginning, the CCTV. I want it to be made law for families to be able to put a system in a relative's room if they so wish to do so. You know, what is so wrong with that? You know, we know abuse happens, sadly. The stats tell us this. Quote me if I'm wrong, but I've been told it's 80 to 85% of care homes are running on abuse charges. Now, for me, one abuse is one too many. So that stat for me tells me it's way, way too high. And nothing has ever been done about it. And this is what I'm questioning. Why has nothing ever been done? So I'm trying to change, not even change the law, I'm trying to make it a law for families to be allowed to put a system in place. You know, what's wrong with that? Why are we not allowed? The question is, why are we not allowed to do that?
So are care homes, for example, is it absolutely, if you have, for example, if somebody has a relative in a care home somewhere and they would like to put a CCTV camera in that relative's room, is that allowed? Or is it dependent on the individual care home?
At the moment, it's not a law. So as you quite rightly say there, the care home would have the power to say no. Now, for me, that's my family member or anybody else's family member. Why are we not allowed? Why has the law not giving us the permission to place one in when abuse is rife?
So if the individual care home, for example, for somebody who had a relative in there, whether that be elderly or vulnerable, whatever it is, if that individual care home allowed it, there would be nothing to stop the relative to do so equally.
Absolutely. If they're allowing it, then yes. You know, you've got full control. Nowadays, as you know, we all have handsets, our mobiles. We could log on. We could be traveling to London, wherever we're traveling. Oh, let's just see how Dad is. Let's see how whoever is. And you can check how they are. Oh, look, beautiful, having a wonderful time. You're at peace with yourself.
Now,
you have security.
You have that peace of mind.
Peace of mind, yes.
And what about, who would have, if we were to, for example, because I know we have a CCTV in our home. We've got the house is full of CCTV.
Yes,
but
most are nowadays.
They are, aren't they? You know, most people, as a way of protection, whether that be the doorbell camera or whatever it is outside. Now,
we can't walk the streets without being filmed.
You can't, and you don't even know you're being filmed most of the time, you know. We have a sticker actually on the house that says "Smile, you're on camera," because you've got to make some sort of light-heartedness, although it's a serious thing. You've got
Big Brother's watching you.
Well,
my dad always said that years ago. Big Brother's watching you.
I think it was George Orwell. I did that at school, actually.
There you go.
Yes.
But yet we can abuse the frail and the vulnerable with nobody watching.
Now,
this is my question.
We have to be clear that this is not all care homes. And
absolutely not. There's some wonderful care homes out there. Beautiful.
This is, like always, the minority make a very bad mistake and then it affects the majority.
Yes.
Now, who would have access? So say, for example, the law was made. And that would mean that any family member or whoever, guardian for that person, by law would be able to say, look, my relative, my friend, whoever has guardianship over that person could say, I would like to have a camera within that room.
Yes.
This is what you're asking.
They would have the law behind them, yes. No one could stop them because the law would be there in place for them to be allowed to.
Okay. And who would have access to the camera? Who could actually see what was going on? Would it only be the family members or would it be the care home staff? Who would have access to the images?
Good question. The EDM on the early day motion, which was drafted by my MPs, they just put on the early day motion that it's for the family member to have control. Okay. Well, I think they should. I think it's a right the family should have.
Okay, and not the care home.
I don't think so, no, because if the care home have access to this, and if you mean access just to view it,
yes, that's what I mean,
or not to tamper with it, because it's a fact that many care homes have tampered with certain CCTV, haven't they? That they've had in their homes, they've missed it, taken things off, erased it, and started it again to cover their own backs. Hence why this EDM, which my MPs have drafted for me, they don't want anybody else to be in control of the system other than the family.
Tony, what is the EDM? I know you said it's an early day motion, but explain, please, what does that actually mean?
Yes, obviously you go to your MPs to get one. It's set in stone by law. I forgot the name of it. I did mention it earlier, what it is. So I'll be in Parliament for the rest of my life now. I've made a bit of history, if you like.
Well, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing, no. You know, you're getting watched now. The media are alerted to an EDM immediately. As soon as an EDM is drafted and published, like mine has been, then the media are fully alerted by this EDM. Now, what it is, as you say, it's an early day motion. You have to get, I'm not sure if it's 50 or so many MPs have to be supportive of this EDM. Mine at the moment has got 25 or 26 supporting MPs, which is pretty good regarding there's been a lockdown for the past 2 months. And my early day motion it wasn't published. I think it was published in, February time, mid-February, March. So it's not long before lockdown. So it's not had time to be in the public domain, if you like. So with 25 MPs supporting it already, it tells you something.
Yeah. I mean, it's good credential for that motion to be passed. Indeed.
Because when I come in there, most early day motions, what my MPs explained to me while I was at Parliament, he said most early day motions are lucky if they get 2 MPs supporting them.
So this is quite a high support for this particular cause. Now, it's called Tell me, what is the actual campaign in its entirety called?
As in, what's the campaign called? It's basically just support Tony Stowell.
Okay,
so if you log onto my social media sites, my Facebook, support Tony Stowell, it will come up straight away. Instagram, it's everywhere. Twitter, Tony Stowell 3 on Twitter. Now, you can see straight away the support I've got. The celebrities are all coming in, the general public. And I want the general public, celebrities they're a lovely bonus. But let's be honest, I want the public to be massively supporting this because we're all public. I don't like titles like celebrity. I'm not a big name. I'm not a title looker like that. To me, we're all equal on every level. Hence why I want this to be made law, so we all have these legal requirements for good care.
And it's something that needs to be done. It needs to be done that all of us, in whatever capacity we are, wherever we are, that we're treated equally as human beings.
Yes, and also my idea for this as well isn't just to, I'm not here to go and catch someone abusing somebody. I hope it never video film any of that. What I want to see the wonderful carers out there. I want to see they're on minimum wage. They've got literally, when I say no training, you know what I mean when I say no training to be a carer. But to me, a carer's role, these are special people. Not everyone can do it. So why is there no qualifications? Why do they not get put on pedestals? Why do they not get award ceremonies once a year? Why do we never see a Pride of Britain award given to a carer?
As we were speaking about earlier, Tony, I think it's, even as we're talking and we're still in lockdown, I think now we're realising the actual reality of what is important, who is important in life.
They're all looking at lawyers. Look at me in my Ferrari. No one's really bothered if he comes down to it. We can't drive any car now, really, to get to and from work.
No.
So I was brought up, as we spoke earlier before we started, it's my family and my loved ones are everything to me. I was brought up that way. I'm half Spanish. We've got very close bonds with each other. Now, I don't care what car someone drives, what house they live in, how big it is, what they've got. I don't care about any of that. What bothers me is how kind somebody is, how they treat somebody else. So for me, we're having to debate for families to be allowed to put a system in place because of abuse. No one can deny that abuse and neglect doesn't or hasn't happened. We go in the streets, we drive our cars, we have to slow down if we're going 32 mile an hour because we see a speed camera coming to get under 30. These cameras are everywhere, watching everyone. Who's benefiting from this? The system. Yes, we shouldn't be speeding. I agree with that. But we also shouldn't be abusing residents, but there's no cameras to watch them. So we're not abused. So we're allowed to abuse behind closed doors, but we can't speed. That's just an example.
I think it shows you the state sometimes of humanity.
Yes.
It is, as we spoke about earlier.
What's more important?
What is important? Who is important? There's so many carers out there. I have many friends who have disabled parents and partners and things, and caring. And I know a couple of children that care for friends of mine, that it's their own children. And they're not really, as you say, given that esteem, because to be a carer is an exceptionally difficult thing to do.
I think it is. I think it's one of the most difficult jobs out there. Not everyone can do it. Hence, when I've gone to care homes and I used to sit with my family member and I would watch carers and I would think, wow, some of them are amazing, and you can see it's just natural. You can just see it, and you can see others. It's not quite so natural. So hence why I say it's in you. It's already in you. I think it's there. It's like being a good mother, if you like.
A good human being, a good human being,
Yeah, absolutely.
If we start from ourselves, if we are going to be caring and compassionate, firstly, it starts from this, Tony, I think. if we are going to be compassionate and caring to ourselves, we can then extend that care, generosity and compassion to others. But
Absolutely.
and people have to be appreciated. And I think not just carers I'm talking about now. I'm talking of people in general. If you're not appreciated, if your working hours or your working conditions or even your home environment, whatever it is, if you're disrespected and you're not given the value of your worth,
Absolutely.
I think it comes from that. The heart of the matter is actually stems from there.
Yes, I've got to agree with that, feeling undervalued.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a great point, you know, and maybe we need to promote that more. This hence why I said earlier, you know, I've spoken to a few carers in my time now, and they say, oh, I never tell people I'm a carer. And I say, why do you say that? And they say, oh, it's just a carer. I said, that straight away tells me that the job title, even though it's their job, they're embarrassed to tell people they're a carer. How sad is that? And yet they're looking after some of the most precious and loved people on this planet. They should be screaming from the rooftops that they're looking after, you know, your mum, your dad, whoever. How beautiful is that? But yet they're embarrassed.
That's a very sad reflection of humanity.
And this is what I've been told. This is how sad it really is. In reality, this is just how that job is looked upon.
It's true. I had somebody deliver from one of the supermarkets. I think I spoke to another guest about it. And a few people from the supermarket. And, you know, it's difficult, deliveries and all of this in this time, you know, we know all of that. But when I saw him, I could have hugged him because I thought, you know, there you are, putting yourself on the line. And I said actually to him, thank you so much for coming. And he was taken aback and he said, no, it's okay. And I said, no, you don't understand. I think I love you. And I just went over the top because my heart was truly overflowing for this delivery driver who had put himself on the line. And I felt this.
But isn't that beautiful? That's how we should look upon another human.
Yes.
Yes. The real meaning things in life that really mean something. And they're what we call our necessities. But they always get overlooked because we take them for granted.
We take them
now
for
we're
granted.
in lockdown for the past 2 months, however long it's been. People are starting to think, hang on a minute, these things aren't just taken for granted. Now, once this lockdown's unlocked, are we sadly, not me personally, but are the majority sadly going to go back to the way they were and forget about lockdown? Yes, they probably will.
Well, you know, I was thinking that actually, Tony, and I was thinking to myself, will they go back? Because actually, there's no such thing as going back. You can't go back to a place in the past. We can rebuild on this broken and fragile society. And no matter what, some people will want to go back to work naturally and to relive their life and to you know, to carry on the journey of life. It can't be the same because this has shaken us as human beings to the core.
Yes, I agree. Maybe for the next generation, our children's generation. Then after that, it will start again. So hopefully, maybe my lifetime, my children's lifetime, they're going to have a nicer world to live in.
Well, this is up to us. And it's people like you, Tony, that I said at the beginning, you're a warrior. And, you know, I am so impressed by your strength of spirit, how you do it, because I know that despite all of this and despite, you know, this fight, you have felt many times like giving up.
Yes, many.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Because, how do you put that into words? It affects your health, your family, your own family life, everything to do with your own life. And you feel as though because you know inside what you really want to achieve. But anything that's of huge value, you have to reach a mountaintop to achieve it. You have to run through brick walls. You have to not be able to sleep for months, maybe a year, 2 years on end. How many people in reality can manage that. There's not many.
No.
This is why they become one-offs. And I hit brick walls so many times. How I kept going, people have asked me, and I honestly couldn't. I've never been able to answer them. All I could ever say to them was, love kept me going for a particular person, if you like.
For a cause.
Yes, it's the cause behind it. And so people who achieve awards, who become these Pride of Britons, if you like, who get these medals, who wear them with pride.
Because you were nominated, weren't you, for a Pride of Britain award?
Yes, I was nominated by many people for a Pride of Britain award. I got this was after I got the Best Heroes award from Best Magazine. Obviously it was published in Best Magazine. I was at a big ceremony in London.
And when was that? When was that?
That was September 18th, so just over a year ago. I was invited to the Waldorf Hotel. Eamon Holmes was the guest speaker, and it was filled with hashtag celebrities, if you like.
Yes.
Wonderful occasion. Myself and my partner went down there. Yeah, it was wonderful.
How did it make you feel?
Very emotional. Very, because then that's what made me realise, hang on a minute, I stood back and just watched until it was my turn to go up and receive my award. And I realised, hang on a minute, I'm actually achieving for what I'm actually doing, if that makes sense. Because I thought I was just doing it out of love, not out of recognition. Then all of a sudden, I'm starting to be recognised. So I thought to myself, I must be doing something of huge public interest. And that's when it how would I use the word? That's when it really took off, because everybody started to log on to my campaign, look what I was doing and following me. And they could see I was meaning. There was meaning behind my campaign, which there is.
You had an inspiration to do this, and it's something that you greatly believe in, and it's that power of love and faith that's probably been the force that keeps you going.
It's had, without a doubt. It's, you say probably, but you're correct. Yes, without all that, why would I carry on? Why would anybody carry on? When you truly, truly love someone or whoever, if you really love them, there's no excuse to stop.
As you love your cause. So you truly love your cause, and you believe in your cause.
Yes.
And
I don't want to see anyone treated subhumanly. Like I said earlier, you go into a residential care home or any care setting, you're in there for a reason, to be cared and loved for, not to be neglected or abused from any level of abuse. People say, well, what level do you mean? They're all the same to me. If you abuse, you abuse. From left to right, high, low, high abuse, low abuse. They're equal to me. Just some are greater than others, but it's still abuse. And if that camera was watching you, you would lose your job.
In a way, it's like...
It's as simple as that.
It's like having an insurance on a car.
Yes. We can't drive a car without insurance.
No.
Yeah, good point.
And it sort of keeps you in line.
It keeps you in line.
It keeps you in line, and it keeps you in line. And as we said, and we keep saying, it's the minority of people in this world that make it so difficult for the majority of us in whatever scope in life, and ruining it for most of us. Whatever that may be, when, for example, we were in school and, the class gets a detention because of two people. And it's like, well,
the school bully's only one. Crowd following.
yes, but you've highlighted something and you've brought something to our attention that is you're very passionate about, and
yes,
this force is really, you're doing it for the whole of this country, are you
I'm
not?
doing it for everyone. Yeah, it's for everyone, and myself included. How do I know one day I don't want to be in a care home being abused?
Yeah.
How awful. What an existence of life that would be.
But we have to be clear that not all care homes are like this. And,
Absolutely not.
I always say, don't say this. When people say, well, people from these countries are like this. And I always say, I have a friend of mine who she's like this. Well, certain people are like this. And, men and women from certain things. And I said, no, they're not. That's just three people you've met.
It's just a human.
It's three people you've met. And now the whole continent's gone out of the window.
Yeah, that really doesn't frustrate me. I hear people.
Yes.
I obviously can't mention names, but I know many people who do that.
Yes.
And I think, why do you call it? Because that lady's whatever colour, or he's whatever colour or whatever religion. You say you take us all of them. That religion's awful. Or that country's terrible.
It's wrong. It's wrong. It's not humane.
Yeah, but again, that's the human for you.
It's humans, unfortunately. Not all humans, but some people, and that goes on a deeper level of maybe that we have lost a touch of humanity through being so obsessed with technology that we've lost that human touch.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
It's a good point. Everything's virtual nowadays, isn't it? Unless you're of a certain age, this is all new. But otherwise, if you're a young age, you know nothing else but this virtual life, because it's like a virtual life now. We don't even go to shops anymore, most people. They're all shutting down anyway. They all click on the phones and it gets delivered to them. That's quite sad.
Someone said it's like having a genie in a bottle, and you say, go and fetch that, and it fetches it, and there you go. And then you don't meet with anyone. You don't talk with anyone.
Nobody. And it's quite frightening. I think it's quite scary.
And
who knows? Yeah. Maybe this lockdown has done that. People are desperate to go out now, so hopefully they're going to go out and it's going to carry on, and they're going to keep going out, and things are going to flourish again. Yeah. Let's keep our fingers crossed and let's get the world flourishing again.
With humanity and kindness and compassion.
Yes.
I don't think we're being idealistic, are we, Tony?
No, I don't think so. I think we're just wanting what I look as normality. Well,
yes, the truth. In effect,
it's just a normal thing in life. I want. I don't want. Again, I can only speak from myself and how I was brought up. This is just how I was brought up. Don't get me wrong. Nothing in life is perfect, but I would never have chosen to have been brought up by anybody else than who I was brought up by. And how I was brought up by
in the old-fashioned way. It is old-fashioned now.
We bring our children up this way. So I don't know, and they're beautiful. My daughter's 21 this year. My son will be 20 this year, and they're beautiful, kind-hearted, don't hurt anyone. They're in this day and age, but they live how I lived. So is it old-fashioned? I don't know.
But it's a good way.
Individual.
It's a good way, because old-fashioned doesn't mean bad. When I think of old-fashioned, to me it's traditional.
It's traditional.
It's the good old days, and you're still installing those values into youngsters.
Yes, absolutely. That's all I want.
Tony, and how are you now? I mean, how are you? How do you relax? How do you wind down? Because you have such a huge campaign. What do you do to relax and to chill out, in effect? Is there such a thing? Is there such a thing?
I'll laugh to myself at that one, but I won't say what Yeah, that's my family were here now. They probably answer that for you. But that's a good question. Yeah, no, it's just nice that I can laugh now and smile, because before I couldn't. Before it was so intense. Obviously, I'm now legally represented by Gulbenkian and Donin in London, who would save my life. So yeah, I can relax a little bit more. And obviously now, I love to go for walks. We've got our lovely French bulldog. He's like having a third child. He's amazing, And I've got my friends I pop to for a coffee, and because I don't really drink, I get drunk on a shandy. So so yeah, I love my life, I just love going for walks in the blue sky, and I love lovely weather, and I just love life. I love seeing people, but it's made me different. It has made me very different.
I can imagine.
It's maybe different, but it hasn't made me bitter. I'm still the stupid guy that I was when I was 20. And I'm looking forward to finding that man again. I will never grow up. I'm like Peter Pan, as they say. I still look 20.
Peter Pan.
And I think that's what's maybe given me the drive and the courage to keep going, because at the end of the day, I try not to take things too seriously. Even if something is serious, I will always see another side to it.
A brighter side.
Yeah, you have to, because life is very precious. It's not long enough. And I don't want to see, again, the vulnerable being abused. I just think it's heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking. Why would anybody able-bodied, even like myself, if you like, why would I pick or abuse behind closed doors someone who can't fend for themselves? What does that make? What would that make me? I would be embarrassed to even see myself do that.
But that's because, Tony, you are maybe someone who has these old values, and the world is a very, very different place to a few years ago, and abuse, it can happen anywhere. It can happen in homes, it can happen in the workplace, it can happen, and it does happen everywhere.
It does.
I have many clients, and the stories that I hear, and I have friends and family, and the things that I hear, and fundamentally we mustn't be afraid. This is the thing, and we must stand up for what we believe in. And I don't want to think that every care home, and I'm sure this is not what you're saying, that every care home is bad.
Of course, no. That would be ridiculous of me to say that, and that would put me. That's like saying I'm calling every human being that's a carer out there. It's quite the opposite what I'm stating. I want to put them on pedestals, because they are, like I said at the beginning, that carers to me deserve more than what they're getting. They should be proud to say they're a carer, but the majority of them are not. And this is the question I want to ask: why? Why are you not proud to be a carer? You're looking after the most precious people of families' lives. Hence their dad, their mum, their grandma, whoever. Wow, you should be put on a huge pedestal for taking care of somebody so precious. But they're on minimum wage. Why? There's many questions. Many questions we could ask. Why is it a dead-end job? It's classed as a dead-end job. When now this pandemic has happened, it's proving all these so-called, I don't even like saying the word, dead-end jobs, and now coming to the limelight, because they are the ones that are the most important.
But they're not dead-end, are they?
Absolutely not.
These are they're the fundamental lifeline of society.
Absolutely. We've had my two children, as I've said earlier, my daughter's at university. I wasn't clever enough to go to university. I don't think, anyway. But she's gone. My son's done well at school. They're both thriving in life. But not once have myself and my partner pushed them. Can you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
And I just think, is it because they've come from an environment that's allowed them just to do what they want? They've never done anything I would be ashamed of, not as far as I know. But I'm proud of them. I'm realistic. And I just think we need to promote these things more. Carers should be put on pedestals. They shouldn't be on minimum wage. They're looking after the most precious people in society. Let's give them credit, and let's get rid of the not so good. That's all I'm asking.
And this is what your campaign is about.
Yes, that's all it's about, yes.
And also to give families and friends the opportunity for the law to be introduced, the opportunity and the freedom and the free will, that if they so wish, that for their own peace of mind, like like we have in our homes, for our own peace of mind, to be able to even, it's a comfort to be able to see them, isn't it?
I think, that's a good point again. As this lockdown, we go back to lockdown again, it's proven it. Obviously, this lockdown has put my campaign right into the forefront now. Families now are going on their iPads, because because they're seeing their family members in care homes now that they've not been able to see for the past 2 months, when they've normally seen them possibly every day.
Yes.
So people in care, if they've got dementia, are wondering what's happening. So they can still see them on these iPads. So hence, it's proving now my campaign is a worthy case.
Because we don't know, do we, how long this lockdown, what the rules are going to be of the lockdown, how it's going to affect different parts of society. So at least if there were cameras in the rooms, the relatives, whatever their condition, could feel possibly less lonely and,
I think so.
you know, a way... a lifeline to their family and friends.
I think it is. Put yourself in that position. You're laid in a bed at home, and that's your room in a care home. And you had a camera in the corner, and you knew you could wave to it now and again. Whether you can see them or not, you know they can see you. Surely you would feel that little bit more secure. I know I would.
I mean, God forbid, you know, it is a very sad thing, you know, when illness befalls somebody and... you have to look at the basic treasures of life that are love and less feeling of isolation and loneliness, you know, that if you want to talk to your mum or your dad or your sister or your brother, or your friend, whoever that may be, that you have the right to do so.
Yes, that's all it is. It's just for that. It's for nothing. It's not to
put it simply. I mean, we're putting it simply. And to avoid any other issues that hopefully won't arise.
Yes, that's all it's for. It's to basically it safeguards everyone. It's a safeguard. I put it this way, I know if it was me looking after, I don't even, my friend he's got a 3-year-old daughter now. And we often chat about it because they obviously know what I'm doing. And I always said to them, if you ask me, I said to my friend George, for example, George, if you asked me to look after your daughter, I would prefer if your house had CCTV in it. And even though I know full well I would never harm anyone there, I know full well if I'm getting watched while looking after the most precious little girl in your life, I'm safeguarded.
Would you really? Would you really prefer to have a camera?
Oh,
Tony?
my God, I would, yes. Because I don't trust anything. When you hear the stories many times, little children don't understand how we do, and thank God they don't. They could fall over while I'm looking after her, or him, whoever it may be, hurt themselves, and then it's translated very differently later on at night when I've gone, oh, how did you do that on your leg? Oh, Tony did that. So that's... You know, that's how children talk, for example. But that camera, going back to the cameras, you think, oh, let's have a look at that. Because it's happened many times. People have lost friendship over things like this. True.
I've heard stories.
It's there, you know, not just with children, with anybody. So you could play the camera back. They go, hang on a minute, that's what she's done. Tony's done nothing. There you go. That camera saved. So for me, it's a safeguard. It's nothing else. It's a safeguard. And it builds bridges and it keeps peace. And to me, cameras are everywhere we walk, sadly. So why are they not in care homes? That's all I'm asking.
But that is what your campaign is all about.
Yes. Yeah, let's just get them in care homes and stop the abuse. And let's see how much abuse falls. So, I'd love to see the stats on that.
So, really, it's for peace of mind.
Yeah.
It's for peace of mind and... as an insurance, in a way. It's
an insurance, absolutely. It's like an insurance policy. You know, you're hoping you're not going to see it. You don't want to look at a family member. You think, let's have a look what, I don't know, Grandad's doing today. So you put it on, you can see he's so happy. How does that make you feel? But if you saw your Grandad, etc., and you thought, oh my God, look what they're doing, that would break your heart. But looking at it on a bigger scale, you've caught them before it carries on.
But we're hoping, you know...
You're never going to see that. You don't want to see any of that.
You know, I wouldn't want to see that. And I still have this faith in humanity that it's very rare. And I have to have this faith in humanity, Tony, that the good actually overshadows the bad. Because if we don't have this faith in good and hope in good, then what's the point?
I agree, fully agree with that. What's the point in living, you know? But how do I come in on that? I've got no answer to that until...
It's maybe another story for another day, as they say.
Yes, I think that is a great point there, because yes, but sadly, it does happen.
It does. Many things happen. And
otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be given an award for it. Why would somebody give an award for something that what he's fighting for never happens?
You're raising awareness.
Absolutely, yeah. It's raising awareness. It's now in Parliament, It wouldn't have got to Parliament. An EDM wouldn't have been drafted. MPs wouldn't be supporting it if it was a pointless case.
Every story, as they say, there's no smoke without fire. And
there you go.
I think we can safely say that every story has that spark, whatever that story may be. Every story has a spark.
That's a great point.
But I am really in awe of what you're doing, and the fact that you're doing this for humanity and whatever we face in this life. We should all have the privilege of being treated as human beings with love and kindness and compassion. And some people would say, Mimi, this is a fantasy. But no, this is not a fantasy. This is reality. And individually, you, I, the next person can make this a reality. And sometimes we needed to be reminded of our frailty and brokenness as human beings. We
all have that. Yes, regardless of age, and strength and size, we all have that frailty. Yes, a great point. No matter how big somebody is, we can still sit in a corner and cry.
Yes.
So yes.
Tony, tell me and tell the listeners how they can support you, because I know you have a fund or that people can donate to.
Yeah, my GoFund page. It's all on my Facebook page and Support Tony Stowell, the campaign page. Everything is there to see, and if they want to, and share it. The campaign page, the fundraising page, it keeps this pushing forward. As I've got a big year ahead of me, and sadly, things have to be paid for. Management has to be paid for. Agents do. Everything has to be paid for.
Of course.
Travel expenses, everything. It doesn't just grow on trees. So, but it's not a force. You don't have to, but it helps me push this forward because I'm nearly towards looking at the finishing line.
And also, people, if they want to show their gratitude and their support and want to make a donation and to follow your journey, where can they find you, Tony?
Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And what do they need to tap in?
My name Tony Stowell. Twitter is Tony Stowell 3. My Facebook is Tony Stowell. It's come straight up, and Instagram is Tony Stowell again. It's there straight away.
Okay.
You'll see it. My ugly mug will be straight there.
Not so ugly, I have to say. You're an ex-model, are you not, Tony?
Well, I did a bit of model. Yeah, I did a little bit,
In the day.
A little bit. Back in the day, and it's really silly because I did that back in the day. I try to look after myself as best I can, a little bit more so now. And I'm getting offers again because of the campaign to do bits of modelling again, but I'm turning them down because I just think it takes... How do I put this so it sounds properly? It takes the look away from my campaign why I'm doing it. So no, I'm not going to go anywhere near that. Like I did Tom Cruise work many moons ago, and I was in Los Angeles with.
So were you a double?
I did a lot of stuff as a double. Yeah, people look at me now because I look nothing like him. But when they do you up, you can look like anybody, I suppose. But he's done the Top Gun 2 that's coming out this year now, and I've been asked to do promotion work for Top Gun 2. But maybe after all this, maybe I'll do because it helps me push forward. It'll help me push the campaign forward.
Why not?
So who knows? Yeah, who knows at that point in time what I decide to do? I don't know. Depends where my main focus is the campaign. It really is at this point because we're at a crossroads now where it's going to hit the big time, and I don't want to mess that up.
because your full force is behind it now.
Yes,
And
yes.
you have many people supporting you. As we
Yes.
said, you have many celebrities, you have a
Yep.
good team behind you.
Yep.
And I want to wish you all the very best. Really, thank you, Tony, for coming on.
Thank you. No, massive thank you to you as well, Mimi.
Thank you. And I'm sure you're going to keep me posted. And
Yep.
who knows, Hollywood could be beckoning you once more in better times, as they say. So never
let's
say,
hope so.
never say never. You never know in
No,
life.
I never say never. No, never say never. And age is a number. People, I think this country, again, going back to where I don't look at anyone's age. I look at them as a person.
Yes.
So that's a great way to end. Age is a number. We should stop looking at ages. Ageism doesn't interest me. My children act older than me.
Yes. I know the feeling.
That's one way of looking at it. They tell me off.
So you've gone back into being their little son, and they're the grown-ups.
Yeah, I act so silly now, and I think I love it. I annoy them. I actually annoy them.
Oh.
And I think it's great. Yeah.
So as we end on a positive note, I have to say, remarkable story.
Thank you.
And you could make history, and I really hope you do, because it is such a worthwhile, passionate, courageous battle, and it has to be
somebody
won.
Had to do it. Somebody had to do it,
and it had to be you.
A lot of people have, people. A good point. Because a lot of people have tried, but they've had big consortiums behind them, companies. I've done it on my own, one man. Hence why they've called it David versus Goliath.
Very apt. And what advice would you give? I always say at the end to my guests, something for the listeners, something that has helped you through life and has helped you to get through life. What advice would you give, sort of in a couple of lines?
Again, I couldn't give advice on that because each individual are very different. The only thing that's kept me going, I believe, was my upbringing. I was filled with love.
Love.
And that's the only thing I can end on, because otherwise, why would I be doing this?
The power of love.
Absolutely. I was treasured. We were treasured. So for me, family's love for their children, for whoever. If you love like my children, they're my world. So hopefully in years to come, they will do the same for their children. And that's when your generations come forward. And I don't know. I think you just have to treat your family well. And if you do, you'll be rewarded.
Beautiful. Really, truly beautiful. Thank you, Tony. I wish you all the very best, and hopefully we'll have you back again, and we'll have another story for another day.
Let's hope so. Not too long away either.
Okay. All right. Well, take care.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye, Tony. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.
Tony Stowell. What an incredible story. The power of courage and faith and love. How it can move mountains. And how also the power of love can not only help oneself, but help the people that are around us. Beautiful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you for listening to Secrets for an Inspirational Life, brought to you by your host, Mimi Novic. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast, and see you in the next episode. For more information about Mimi Novic and her books, music, and inspirational work, take a look at her website, www.miminovic.co.uk.